How powerful are mounts in Age of Empires Mobile? That is already the question that we are asking ourselves in game. Because let's be honest, this is a brand new power creep mechanic, and many people have concerns, including myself, on how strong mounts make a formation. Are you going to be an absolute domination on the open field if you have a really good mount compared to your opponents that just don't have good mounts on their free heroes? Well, let me honestly give you maybe a little bit of copium here, but after the research, I honestly don't think so. And I am going to showcase some battle reports to back up what I'm saying in today's video so you guys can actually see the point of view that I am coming from. So smash that comment and subscribe, and let's just break down firstly where the power comes from in a mount, because if you don't know where the power comes from in the mount, you will not understand the battle reports, right? It's as simple as that. So the first thing is the attributes do not really create that much power in the actual horse. Yes, they are going to give you some power as a baseline, but the real power generator, the real big numbers that come is the traits. And it's actually, especially if you've got a single trait or a double trait, because obviously if you got two for the price of one, that's going to obviously double up the amount of power that you gain. But obviously when you start to chain that with double epic ones, you're going to generate even more power. And the thing is, these traits obviously come in different rarities. As you can see, we've got the blue ones, we've got the purple ones, you can even scroll down, we've got mythic ones, right? We've got even common based ones if you scroll down a little bit further and we try and find one for you guys, right? But they come in all these different varieties of rarities for your account, right? And the thing is, what you'll realize though, even though they are coming in these different rarities, each one of these actual powers will also come in a range of strength. And what I mean by that is, if we compare our good old Belisarius and our Ashoka, because both of them rock the stratagem traits, and you'll notice this horse does have some pretty good attributes, just to kind of myth bust any of those comments that are about to write it. But he has a 6.8% bonus. When we look at the Ashoka with lower stats on his actual overalls, right, we have a 7.6% bonus on that stratagem, which is quite interesting. And you'll also notice, right, we can also get different types of stratagems. Like if you go to Lifesaver, you'll see we have an epic horse here, or an epic trait on a legendary horse, but we also have this mythic trait on an epic, and you can already see the difference of all of these going against each other, right? 2.5% versus 2.88 compared to 4.8. That is a massive difference. So you can already tell these two here are probably on the low end of what we've been able to hit, right? 2.8 is probably the threshold to go from rare to epic in the trait rarity. So the main bit of power, honestly, in these kind of horses is this trait, right? This trait is going to generate a ton of power. The second area, as you guys will have guessed it, is the adornments, right? And the adornments do generate a ton of power. You're going to get a bunch of power for having a level 60 adornment, but you're also going to be generating a ton of power from the maxed out mythical skill. This generates 10,000 power each pip, and if you come into each of these categories, if you minus 2,000, that is how much you generate each time. So this goes from 10,000 on the bottom row to 8 to 6 to 4,000, right? So that is how much power you gain each pip. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, right? And then this is going to go up again in the 6s, this is going to go up in the 8s, and this one is going up in the 10s. And it adds all of that up together, and that is how much power you're actually having on your horse. The thing is, what's kind of scary is when we did some live stream testing, because now we kind of understand that the power comes from obviously the trait and the special effect being the two main areas of power, and then obviously the base attributes of the adornments being level 60, the third area, and the attributes being at the very bottom and honestly meaningless when it comes to the, the amount of value that they're worth. When we go into the actual power now, this is where we get a different story, which is quite scary and might answer a lot of your guys' question, which is, are mounts worth it? Because the thing is, 3.3 million power for our heroes being max, obviously legendary skills, or max skills, that is a ton of power. If you look at our gear being red gems, obviously 5-star, level 80, that's 3.5 million power. And if you've improved your red gems to maybe a tier 1, you could get to that 3.6 like he's done, right? You could do something like that. Our signet rings being level 50, which you will see in a second, and all legendary, a 3.844, and that's across both sides. So you can see a common theme that each one of these power systems is about 3 million power or more when it hits that maximum, when you've actually hit the maximum thing. So as a mount, you're expecting it to hit around that 3 million mark. However, when you check out the battle reports, it is the complete opposite, and it is quite scary to see how little power these get, which does make me want to say, I don't think you want to be spending that much money on these guys. Like, obviously people will be spending money. People will be investing into this who still play Age of Empires Mobile, who choose to, and vice versa. But the thing is, these are only generating over 1.7 million power. And this is for a horse combo that is all legendary with epic set of skills. That is kind of terrifying on how low that is. And the thing is, the reason I believe the power is actually so low right now is because of the Pioneer server bug that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Because the one thing you'll notice, if I click on any of these 6 horses, it doesn't matter which 6 horse I pick, you're going to be able to see, for example, the enemy's traits, which is obviously giving him a ton of power, which is obviously backing up my claim from the beginning of the video. But the one thing that you'll notice is if we click on any of the adornments, you're going to see the level that he's got on his adornments, but you won't see the attribute. You won't see the special effect that he's got. Even if you've got a level 60 actual piece of gear and it showcases he has a new effect after the reroll available, it's not maybe added into the battle report. So I do believe as of now, this could be the bug, that this is +0. So this is not contributing the power of you actually powering up your good old, obviously, special effects skill. But that isn't any better if you think about it, because at most then, you gotta think, I'm at 1.74 million power. That is with horses with legendary all the way across, epic on their skills, with some good, obviously, epic skills. Everything is level 60 on my side, so you'll see every adornment's level 60, and then we've not got the bonus. So if we just added in, just to be generous, like an extra what, 300,000? Even if you said 600,000 power, even though it's not that much, it's not worth it. It's not even breaking 2 million power, let alone coming even close to 3 million power. So yes, mounts will make your march stronger. Obviously, a mount will make your march stronger. You're dealing that extra bit of damage. You are reducing an extra bit of damage. You are doing an extra passive effect on your march, making it obviously a bit more effective in the open field. However, I honestly do believe it's not going to be making that much of a difference in the grand scale of things, especially, as you guys can imagine, if you're a free-to-play player or a low spend like me, if you go against a super whale or a kraken with some mythic or legendary horses with legendary and mythic traits, you were already losing that fight anyway with their level 140 heroes. Let's be honest with ourselves, we were. So the horses aren't making a difference in that scenario either. So are horses really worth it in Age of Empires Mobile are they going to be worth all of that investment people are thinking of probably doing to make these absolutely crazy so they keep their #1 marchers on the open field? I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to say no, I actually don't think it is. And maybe I am wrong. And when we might see a triple mythic horse setup with some legendary skills, maybe, that might actually showcase the real power of these horses at the top level. But until then, I am not impressed. And the thing is, this isn't the end of the video. I just want to really nail this in the coffin for you guys. So just to finish off the video, just to make you guys feel a little bit better than you might already be thinking, these horses, obviously in the first report, it's at 1.416 million power, right? And if you look, we've got double epic, we've got a legendary, we've got a good old common, and then we've got an epic. The thing is, you'll notice on this second battle report, our good friend Dart Trooper has actually closed the gap. He's closed the gap and he's still kept 2 epic horses, which just showcases when you equip just a singular legendary trait, and legendary trait, you are going to close down that gap or beat my gap of having epic with triple legendary horses. That just showcases how much of a difference this trait really does make in the power of grand scheme of things, right? And just think, you're able to get one of these powerful traits on rare horses and even on, epic horses. And I'm going to showcase that at the end for you guys, right? But you'll see any of these reports, he's closing down the power of my march, right? And that is because of these traits that he's got on his horses. So if I've not made it obviously clear by the end of this video, I don't know what to do, right? So honestly, smash a like, comment, and subscribe. And to finish it off, like I said, I want to give you guys some hope, right? So if we go into the mount management and just go to rare horses, right? We can take off the filter that I might have on. So let me reset everything. Just put blue horses. You can see I've got this blue horse. It's got healing armor on it with obviously an epic trait, right? If we go to just epic horses, you'll see I'm going to get epic horses with this trait on too, right? And they're going to be at the same percentage, right? Even this lifesaver, 4.8% on there. We've got double commons. We've got double purples, right? We've got purple and commons, right? We've got a bunch of different actual, look at this one, purple and mythic on one. And yes, it's a gathering speed one. It's not the most fun, but just think, you're able to roll these traits randomly on one of your horses. And these are where the power lies, right? So as a free-to-play player, honestly, as a low spender even, I honestly would not lose faith on these. The only thing that you're gonna get a bit upset about, and I am gonna get equally frustrated and mad as a player of this game, is as you're creating these horses, as you can imagine, these traits here, you might not get the trait that you want every single time as you're going for it. But that is kind of the RNG involved. And obviously, if you've watched my video on how to breed the best way, I'll put a little link right up there for you guys to click on right now. Check it out, and it will help you increase the chances of getting certain skills like the Overpower, or the Thunderbolt, or the Stratagem, whatever one you want. It will teach you how to do that, right? So let me know. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think about these mounts? Are they actually that impressive to you? Do you actually think these aren't going to be worth it? And you think players are actually not going to spend that much money on after actually seeing how much power they really don't seem to give? Let's be honest with ourselves. So with that, smash like, comment, and subscribe. Until the next video, guys, stay safe, stay sneaky. Peace out.